Okay, this is 12.2, adding and subtracting polynomials. We're not going to do much with this today. We're just basically combining like terms. But we're going to look at a couple of different ways to do this. Um, we're going to look at these. First, we're going to look at adding polynomials, and we're going to look at it doing it vertically. Now, the reason why we might need to know how to do this vertically is because of some things you'll do next year in algebra. You will do some vertical operations like addition and subtraction in algebra next year, and it might help to see it this year. Okay, so if we're going to add these vertically, what I want to do is stack them vertically like you used to add or subtract, multiply. You used to do this vertically. Okay, so what I'm going to do, and I don't want to do that. Let's see if we can get a pen here. There we go. So I'm going to go 5p squared plus 3p. Let me get rid of this. Okay, guys, there we go. Minus 7. Okay, so I just rewrote this. Now underneath it, I'm going to line up the like terms. So I'm going to put 2p squared here. I'm going to put negative 8p here. Then I'm going to put positive 4 here. Okay, and then I'm just going to add these. That's a great line there. Okay, 5 plus 2 is 7, so that's 7p squared. Negative 8 plus 3 is negative 5p. Okay, and then negative 7 plus 4 is negative 3. And here's my answer. Okay, and notice it is in standard form because the highest degree monomial is first. This has a degree of 2, this has a degree of 1, this has a degree of 0. All of our answers must be in standard form today. Okay, let's look at this one. 4x squared, go ahead and write the first one. Okay, then line up the like terms. So 8x is underneath this, and 1 is underneath this. Notice I don't have something for that. That's okay. That's okay. I'm just adding. Okay, so 4x squared plus nothing is just 4x squared. Okay, 8 and negative 6x, that's going to be positive 2x. Sorry, positive 2. And positive 3 and positive 1 is positive 4. Okay, that was in standard form. Okay, look at this one. Let's put this one first. Negative 4z and positive 7. Okay, now let's put this one underneath it. Now 3z squared has nothing to line up with because there's nothing up here that's like that. So I'll put 3z squared here, negative 3z, and minus 8. Okay, there we go. So 3z squared doesn't have anything to add to. It's just going to be 3z squared. These are both negative, so same sign sum. I get negative 7z. Negative 8 and positive 7 gives me negative 1. Okay, again, my answer is in standard form because this is the highest degree monomial, and this is the lowest degree. I've got it from highest to lowest. Okay, look at the next one. Let's go ahead and put this on top, negative w3. Now notice I don't have, let me go back on that, negative w3. I don't have a w2, but I'm going to leave a space for it. Okay, and if you want to, you can just go ahead and put plus 0 w2 because there's no w2 here, plus w plus 2. Now what that does is it leaves a space in case I have a w2 over here, which I do. Okay, now put these underneath it. w2 goes here, and then negative 5 goes here. And we're going to add. Okay, negative 3w cubed, nothing to add it to. So I've got a 0w squared plus w squared. That's just going to be w squared, or 1w squared. Excuse me. Then plus w, then negative 5 and positive 2 gives me negative 3. Okay, again, I don't have anything to add to it. Stays the same. They just come down. This comes down here. This just comes down here. This was just a placeholder. It's just 0. So none of these plus one of these. This doesn't change. It just stays the same. Okay, that's adding vertically. Let's look at horizontal adding. Okay, make sure our color still looks good. It's okay. Okay, so again, here I'm just going to add like terms. So these are like terms because they have the same variable part. This and this are not alike because they don't have the same exponents. They got to be exactly the same. The variable parts have to be exactly the same. So 2x squared plus 3x squared is 5x squared. Okay, then I get an x and a negative 7x. It's going to be negative 6x because it's positive 1x, negative 7x. Then I got positive 10 and negative 2 gives me positive 8. Okay, that's kind of a weird color to look at, but hey, it's different. We'll keep it. Next, looking at this one, again, adding like terms, that and that, they're alike. They're exactly alike. So negative 5 and positive 2 gives me a negative 3y cubed. Okay, look at the 6y squared. That has no like term with it, so it's going to stay unchanged. And since I'm putting it in standard form, that has to go next because it's the next highest degree monomial. Then the negative 2y and the negative y are the same. So same family, so we have to add those together. We get negative 3y. Okay, and notice here, if you can, without your eyes kind of turning inside out here, my exponents are just going down, 3, 2, 1. Again, this is the highest degree, this is the lowest degree, okay, because it's standard form. Okay, let's look at some subtraction problems. If I am, maybe we can change the background. No, I can't do that. I'm not going to do that right now. Okay. If I'm subtracting, what I want to do, let me see if this works. Okay, so it won't hurt our eyes so much. Again, I'm going to write it. I think that's better. Okay, I've got that there. Now, since I'm subtracting, I need to do this, and I'll show you why here in a second. The minus sign goes out here. Everything inside the parentheses, I'm lining up with what's above it. Okay, now I'm going to subtract those. That is a 9. It's an awful 9. Okay, but remember, we always, when you had something like this, and when we first started it, 4 minus 3, or 4 minus, let's say 4 minus 13, we always change it to addition and put the negative sign on the 13. Then everything was addition. Well, the same thing goes here. We're going to change this to addition, but when we do that, we have to change the sign on everything behind the negative sign. In other words, I'm basically distributing this negative sign inside the parentheses and making it addition. Okay? So 6x squared plus negative 5x squared is simply x squared, 1x squared. 4x and negative x gives me 3x. 7 and 9 gives me 16. And that's done. Okay? Again here, let's put this on top, 14b squared minus 12b. Underneath, parentheses, I've got 9b squared minus 5b plus 1. Not 7 plus 1. I had to take away everything. 9b squared minus 5b plus 1. Okay? Now, again, I want to change it to addition, and when I do that, I have to change the sign of everything inside the parentheses. Now I can just add. I've got an addition problem here. So 14, 9, that's going to be 5b squared. Negative 12, positive 5 gives me 7, negative 7b. The negative 1 with 0 up here just gives me negative 1. Okay? And that is subtracting vertically. Let's subtract horizontally. When I subtract horizontally, I just simply distribute this negative sign. So what I do is I change it to plus, okay? Then I make this a negative, make this a negative, make this a positive. I just change the sign of everything inside the parentheses. We've done that before when we were distributing. When we had a minus sign in front of parentheses, we had to distribute the minus sign. Now add like terms. This and this give me 3y squared, okay? The negative y and the negative 3y gives me negative 4y, and then the positive 6 and the positive 5 gives me 11. Okay? Look here. Change this to addition. Change the sign of everything behind it. Okay? Now c squared and negative c squared gives me negative 7c squared. Positive 4c, positive 2c gives me 6c. Negative 13, negative 7 gives me negative 20. Okay? That's done. Here again, change the sign of everything in the parentheses behind it. Okay? So all those 3x3 and negative 3x3 become nothing, 0. Okay? Now I've got a 7x here. That added to a positive x gives me 8x, right? Okay? Now I don't have anything else over here to deal with. So I've just got to write, I have this left and I have this left. They've got to go in my equation or my expression because they've got to go in there. I'm adding it to 0 basically. So I get a negative 2x squared, and I'm putting it in the order it should be because I want it in standard form, minus 4. Okay, the x squared is bigger than the x as far as degree goes, so this has to go first. Okay, so again, just because I don't have something over here to add to over here, or vice versa, if I've got one of them, it's got to go in my answer. Okay, which it did there. Change this to a positive, negative, positive, positive. Okay, here we go. We're going to add 5n3, negative n3 gives me 4n3. Negative n, I'm sorry. There's nothing with negative n, right? But I've got a 6n squared here. The n squared is going to have to go next to my answer. It's positive. There's nothing to go with it, so it doesn't change. So it's positive 6n squared. Now the n can go, and there's nothing with it. It's just negative n. Now I've got a positive 2 and a positive 9 gives me positive 11. Okay, there we go. Highest degree first. This has a degree of 3. This has a degree of 2. This has a degree of 1. This has a degree of 0. Your constants will always go last because they have a degree of 0. And that's what we're doing today. We're adding and subtracting polynomials. On the homework today, you don't have to do them vertically. You don't have to do them horizontally. You just got to get them added. You choose the way you want to do it. Okay? Make sure you do it right, though. And that is it for today.